and welcome to Lesson 2. In this lesson, we are going to discuss the Python syntax and comments. My name is Mildred. In the last lesson, we looked at how to set up our development environment. And before you get into this lesson, I hope you have watched Lesson 1 and you have set up your IDE or whatever you choose to use to follow along with this course. Now, Python is a readable programming language. It's one of the easiest languages you can learn. As easy as it is very hard to master. It takes time to master the language, but very easy to learn the language. So we are going to progress from the basics to building a fully functional software by the end of the course. If you're coming from course 1, you would have noticed that JavaScript uses a semicolon to end a statement, but in Python we use new lines. I'm going to create a new file and then we're going to illustrate syntax in Python. Every time you write a Python code, you terminate that line of code with a new line. Python relies on indentation, and indentation are the spaces in front of a line of code. The spaces can be any number, but it must be 1 or above. But within the same block of code, you have to maintain the same number of spaces. So let's give an example of how Python syntax is. So let's say, for instance, if 10 is less than 20, we want to do something. Now you have to print 10 is less than 20. You can see that after the if statement, the next line starts with spaces in front. So this is the indentation it relies on. And when I run this, it is going to print 10 is less than 20 because 10 is less than 20. I can put an else block, print 10 is greater than 20. Now, I'm having code complete because I use Copilot. Copilot is an AI from GitHub that actually understands what you're trying to do and complete your code. It's not advisable to start with that, but because my system already has that installed, you will see that, but you might not see that on your system if you don't have Copilot. It's not a necessity for this course, but I just want you to understand, if you see my code getting automatically completed, it's not because I did something different, it's because I have Copilot installed. Now, if 10 is less than 20, print 10 is less than 20. Now we can see that in this block of code, this shows the scope. This is going to happen if this happens, then else this is going to happen. Let's make 10 greater than 20 and then we run this. And then we have 10 is greater than 20. But if I decide that I don't want this, it's going to error out because there is indentation. So indentation error, expected an indented block after else statement on line 3. So this explains the syntax of Python. Every time you write a Python code, you have to indent to illustrate or to tell the system the scope. So indentation is very important. White spaces and indentation are used to define the scope in Python. Let's say we only want to use the if statement, we don't want to use the else statement. We have comments that we use to comment out a line of code or to leave a note on a line of code for other developers or to remind ourselves what we're supposed to do there. So we can put a hash sign for a single line of code like this, and it comments this out. If we want to have multiple lines of code, for instance, I want to write a note here, I'm going to do 3 quotes. So within the quotes, I'm going to write my statement. So I want to say illustrating syntax. I want to continue on the new line using the if statement and the else statement. So we have multi-lines written like this. And when we run this code, it's going to ignore everything that is a comment. So the multi-line comments, we use the quotes, 3 quotes to start with, 3 double quotes, and we end with 3 double quotes. Single line, we use hash. So if I want to leave a comment here, this will be false, something like this. So it's going to ignore any of the thing with a hash sign in front of it. And it's going to ignore anything in quotes like this. So when I save this and I run, we'll see that it is going to say, it's not going to do anything because it only says if 10 is greater than 20, print this. And 10 is not greater than 20, so it does nothing. But when I say if 10 is less than 20, save this, run, it's going to print 10 is less than 20. So this is basically the syntax of writing a Python code. In the next lesson, we're going to go deeper to look at variables in Python.